G'day beautiful people, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to take a look at 5 of my favorite cards in the game. They're definitely cards that I think are absolutely great for their own reasons. They are not necessarily what would be listed as the best 5 cards in the game. A couple of them maybe may make that list. But I know there's a lot of people that are doing the best, the most overpowered, the blah 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 cards in the game. I just wanted to give you my 5 of my favorites. Now I've gone with one from each affinity, so these are actually my favorite cards from each affinity. Some of them might actually come across as a bit of a shock as to being chosen as the best card in that affinity, or my favorite card in that affinity. I've got to stop using best. So let's just get straight into it. Talking about Chaos, my favorite Chaos card is probably actually one that people deem to be one of the best Chaos cards, and that is Deathcrawler. It's an uncommon card. It gives you 28 power, which is quite a lot, 24 basic armor, so stats wise it's very, very strong. However, its passive ability called Mighty Strikes gives you extra 250% bonus damage on your basic attack every 8 seconds, but your attack speed is reduced by 50. So this is not as it's not as debilitating as it used to be, because it used to be 60 or 65 I believe, so it doesn't reduce your attack speed quite as much as it did, which is great. I actually use this on my Murdoch build, and I use what is my favorite order card that we'll talk about in a minute to substitute for some attack speed. So this is obviously very strong. As I said, I like to use it for Mr. Murdoch. People definitely put this on their Kalari builds. It's what makes Kalari great at the moment, and it's just a very, very good card. It's probably could be argued that it's one of the best cards, but it is definitely my favorite Chaos card. Now when it comes to Death, my favorite card in the game as far as Death goes is actually Veil Stepper. It's a common card, gives you 8.8 health regen and 18 basic armor. So for a jungler, that is just amazing. That amount of health regen and basic armor is really going to help you, and it also comes with Smokescreen. It's a passive ability that allows you every 5 seconds to enter the shadow plane. When you pass through a fog wall, you'll stay in the shadow plane for 3 seconds. It does take a second once you walk through the shadow wall to actually proc it, so you need to make sure that when you pass through the shadow wall that you can't actually be seen. There's been a few times where I've noticed the jungler coming through the shadow walls, just instantly popping on the minimap and spotting them, being able to get away. But if you use this card well, just stats alone are great, and that passive just really helps out because you don't need to worry about the purple buffs for your ganks. So next up, looking at Order. Now this might surprise you, but my favorite card in Order is actually Flag Bearer. And a lot of the reason why I have come to like this card so much is because I do use Deathcrawler, which is the Chaos card we talked about on Murdoch. This card gives you 29 attack speed, and it only costs 7 agility. So for the amount of attack speed you actually get, it's actually really, really good on the stat front. It's good on the stat front compared to how much it costs, rather. And you do get 2 passive buffs with this. One is Minion Leader Aura, so you will actually passively buff your friendly minions. They'll get extra health and extra movement speed, and they will buff you, giving you 25 basic damage whenever they're nearby. So think about the fact that Knight of Asher will give you 30 basic damage as a standard when you put the card on. This actually gives you 25, which is pretty darn close to what that actually gives you. But you're also getting a boatload of attack speed, and the reason why I love it so much is because that attack speed helps with Deathcrawler. So Deathcrawler, every 8 seconds you'll be doing massive amounts of damage, and you can get away with the attack speed reduction because this 29 attack speed is actually a whole lot, and it really goes a long way to sort of fixing the attack speed that you lost. So you'll lose 50 attack speed with Deathcrawler, but you'll get nearly 60% of that back with Flagbearer. Moving on to Knowledge, my favorite card is probably once again one of the strongest cards in the game. It is probably what people would vote as one of the top 5, top 10 cards in the game, and that is Sleeper Agent. Comes with 14 power and 140 mana, so it lends itself more to either support or a caster. It's got an active ability called Gag Order, which every 45 seconds for 100 mana, you can silence the target enemy for 3 seconds. The target takes 15% increased damage. This is starting to get very annoying in matches. I've noticed a lot of Bellicas start running this, and supports. So if the support and the Bellica or whoever is in the fight at the same time, you can get silenced for 6 seconds. And then there's the stuns and CC on top of that, and you don't really have a very good chance of living once this gets used against you. It's definitely a very, very strong card, and it is my favourite knowledge card. Now, last but not least is my favourite growth card. This is actually my favourite card in the game. For the longest time on Legacy, I was an Iggy main, and I love the way that he is right now. And I feel like this card, above all else, make him even stronger than he actually is. So it's an uncommon card. You'll get 19 power, 140 mana, and an extra 80% mana regen. It is expensive. It's a 13 intellect card, but it comes with ramping spells, which is a passive, and ability hits on enemy heroes increase your damage against that hero by 4% for 10 seconds. This effect can stack up to 8 times. Now imagine this being used when you ult with your turrets out. You hit them with all of your abilities all at once. You'll have this stacked up to the 8 times very, very easily. So that's 32% extra damage that you're almost always guaranteed to get with someone like Iggy. I could imagine using this maybe with someone like Morigesh as well. Mark into a hive, that would get you quite a few stacks of this up, which would then make your ultimate even stronger. Someone like Shimbi, this would make Shimbi quite a fair bit stronger with her ultimate. It's a very, very good card. It's very underused, I feel like. I don't feel like a lot of people actually put this in their builds. But I'm a massive fan of this card, and if you've not tried it, I strongly recommend that you actually give it a go. So they are my 5 favourite cards in version 42 at the moment. None of them are necessarily the strongest card in the game. There are a couple that are definitely could be put in the top 5s or top 10s as far as strongest cards go, or OP cards. But they're definitely my 5 favourite cards. So I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, smash the like button, leave me a comment, let me know what your favourite cards are in the game. They don't have to be the strongest cards. I feel like everyone always talks about what the strongest is or what the weakest is. I'm more interested in what your favourite card is. What is a card that you always use, that you love using, that is not necessarily in everyone's builds, that people don't necessarily think is great, but you just enjoy using? So let me know in the comments. Subscribe if you're not already, guys. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I love your face, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.